Good afternoon. Good afternoon from beautiful Miami. My name is Maryam Isa Al Ali Zastipil. I put God first. This is my story, and I have a purpose. I help others embrace their authentic self to serve a bigger purpose. Everything I do in my life, from the minute I wake up in the morning to the minute I go to sleep at night, is a service of something bigger than who I am.
Yes, and my name is Alexander Zastipol. My purpose is to bring out the strength in others so they can take full control of their life and gain all rights to their existence.
Guys. Today is Tuesday. It's 12 p.m. here in the beautiful Miami, 9 p.m. in Dubai because of the time change. And I'm going to tell you guys, like we come to you guys every single Tuesday to bring to you a topic that is going to be beneficial for your life and your business as well. And today's topic is very, very, very important because it's going to be helping you not only move forward, but I understand where you are moving from.
Yes, and you will not be able to get to the next level without doing this.
Right.
Okay, so we're going to share with you all of the points of getting to the next level. And today it's centered around reflection. And I want to start sharing with you what reflection means, because if you don't know what it means, that means you're going to spend the rest of this live confused. Okay, so I want to make sure we clear this up for you. So reflection means serious thought or consideration, right? It's just a very deep, serious, intentional, paying 100% attention to those thoughts, right? So my question to you is, do you reflect in your life? Do you actually pause? I want Maryam to share one of her favorite quotes with you guys because it's very relevant for this. Go ahead. I know you know exactly what quote I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's actually the first point.
Yes.
So basically, this is a quote I learned from Dr. John C. Maxwell back in 2016 when I met him the first time at Live to Lead. It was a conference that he held in Atlanta, Georgia. And I remember he was sharing with us his book, The 15 Laws of Growth. And in the book, there is this very important law called the law of reflection. So what does the law of reflection say? The law of reflection says the following: learning to pause allows growth to catch up with you. Learning to stop and look allows growth to catch up with you, which is again gets us to the first point, which is why it's important for you to reflect, because it allows growth to catch up with you. We do so many different things in life. We go ahead and build houses, build careers, build businesses, but we don't allows ourselves to time to stop and reflect. And here's the thing, guys. When you pause, it doesn't mean that you're breaking momentum. Alex and I, we always talk about momentum, and we talk about the importance of having that momentum. So when you pause, it's not like you are breaking that momentum. When you pause and you look at what you've done, it allows that growth to catch up with you. Because if you're going to keep doing random things without knowing exactly why you're doing something, how you're doing it, or even like, what should I do better next time? You will not be able to identify the learning lessons and experiences without allowing yourself to pause. So Alex and I, we actually reflect a lot. And one of our favorite reflections is the reflection we do by the end of the month, or even the ones we do quarterly, because in the reflection, like, wow, we have done a lot. Right? Spiritually, financially, growth-wise, connection-wise, environment, relationship. But we will not be able to understand how much growth we had have we not paused. It is very natural for us to see why things have gone wrong for us, and instead of identifying, okay, this went wrong, how can I make it better next time?
Yeah. So actually, personally, a few years back, Maryam's the one that taught me this before we were even together. Yeah. Right. And I used it in a private one-on-one I did with Grant Cardone. For those of you guys that don't know him, he's got $5.5 billion in real estate. He does $150 million in revenue in one company. He has, I think, 7 best-selling books as well. He's known in a lot of spaces, and he's continuing to expand, even though he's a billionaire. Okay. So I was in a private one-on-one with him. And it was, it's not like it was an entire day worth of a private one-on-one, but in that time that I spent with Grant, I knew because of Miriam that I had to go reflect afterwards. If I wouldn't have reflected, I would not have had my breakthrough moment in that moment. So it wasn't actually in the moment when I was with him. Let me share this with you guys. It was when I got back to the hotel where I actually reflected on everything that he told me in that private one-on-one with him. And I just reflected very deeply because it was a lot of, it was time that I invested with him, right? With a billionaire. So I'm just trying to catch everything that he did, everything that he said. And the biggest thing I caught was not what he said, it was what he did. Right? So if I wouldn't have reflected on that, I wouldn't have caught, like, it was actually a spiritual moment for me because I reflected. If I wouldn't have reflected, none of the big things, none of the big breakthroughs that happened in that moment like that would have happened. So I had to pause for a second. I couldn't just like go past and be like, oh yeah, I did a private one-on-one with Grant. It was great. He said a lot of things. And then someone asked me, what did you learn? I'd be like, oh, it was great. I was having a great time with him. You know, I was with a billionaire, right? And a lot of times when people ask you what you learned, you don't know because you never reflected. So the story here is when you reflect, you actually are able to have the moment to look at exactly what is going to take you to the next level.
I love that. That's why many people say go to events or conferences and they're like, we didn't learn anything. It was boring. It was not like, there is no way you spent 3 days in a conference that you hated and you decided to stay without learning something. It is always taking the time, which we're going to talk about it toward the end, to go ahead and find the time to go and reflect toward that thing that you learned.
Right.
I think we should go to number 2.
Yeah, 100%. So number 2 is going to be, so the reason why it is important to reflect, because you guys are like, I'm really busy. I don't know if I have time for that. I'm busy with all these different things. I don't have time, right? Well, you should start changing your thinking, because one of the reasons you are confused is because you're not reflecting, which brings me to point number 2. It helps you remove confusion and center yourself on your thoughts. Right? It helps remove some of the confusion. Like, there's a lot going on this planet. And if you don't believe me, just look at the news for about 30 seconds and you're going to find recession. You're going to find gas prices. You're going to find, I guess COVID's over now. There's elections. We got a hurricane coming in Florida. They removed all of our furniture downstairs. It's all gone because otherwise it's going to blow away. So there's so many things going on in this world. And in fact, we think 70,000 thoughts every single day. So when you pause to reflect, you all those 70,000 thoughts, you start centering it around the things that actually matter, right? The things that are actually going to move you forward next, right? But if you don't do that, you're going to remain confused. You have to figure out what that next move is, and you don't find that out by just moving without, looking, right? You have to confront the situation. That's what you have to do. So confront and figure out what the next move is and start centering yourself into a forward direction.
And here is the thing. Now that you say this, sometimes we get to so many different events, and you mentioned the word confusion there.
Mm-hmm.
The reason you are confused when you go to an event as well, it's not because you have like an overdose of information. And this is something we talk about all the time here. It is because you don't understand what a specific word actually means.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I remember going when I was first following Grant, and Grant would be talking about, in the US, don't laugh at me. I didn't know what IRS meant.
Yeah.
And why Grant he was just always talking about the IRS. And I'm like, what is the IRS? What does it mean to give 40% and pay yourself 40%? Meant nothing to me. And I felt confused. And when I'm confused, I'm not even paying attention to the rest of whatever is in the session.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes, but again, I remember that I think it was the business bootcamp, October 2020, the one that you spoke in.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I remember that one. So I'm like, So I went ahead after the day one was over, and I was looking, I'm like, why am I confused? And I just literally looked IRS, and I had it like circled, right? And then I looked at the IRS, and I'm like, oh, it is what it is. So it's pretty much the not to give you guys the details of it, it's just, the authorities that gets the 40% taxes. Right?
The taxes.
Pretty much. That's this is what I understood of it. And I'm like, Oh, I see. So 40% goes to taxes. Oh, so you pay them 40%. You might as well pay yourself first 40%. So again, sometimes when we go to events and conferences and we don't understand something, that's because they gave you an overload of information. And you don't have to remember. It's not like an exam. You don't have to memorize. A grant says that. What is 10x? 10x is the right thing. The right thing combined with the right thing. It's not memorizing. You know, I'm gonna tell you that was something that we learned wrong in school. Like, you know, oh my gosh, I have to memorize everything. You don't have to memorize everything. You have to understand everything. You know, whatever you need to go ahead and do. So when you go to conferences and events, or you go through an experience, or you meet someone, or you meet a client, and suddenly you're confused, ask a question again. If you don't understand the meaning of a word, you have to look it up, or you're going to be even giving the client something that they're not even aware of.
Yeah, 100%. So becoming more aware of things is going to help remove some of the confusion, like Miriam said. Like if Miriam is telling you guys fire right now. I hope you guys are taking notes. I hope that you're always taking notes. And by the way, we come live every single Tuesday at noon Eastern, and that's 9 p.m. now because of the time change. 9 p.m. UAE time. That's noon Eastern, 9 p.m. UAE time. And we come here giving you vital information that's going to change your life and help you get to the next level. And at the end of this, you should reflect on the reflecting topic. If you get what I'm saying. All right. So the next piece right here, it's going to give you clarity, right? Like there's so many things that are in our mind. You know, it's like so many things that you could be doing, but it's going to give you clarity on what to apply next. Okay, how many times have you gone to a conference? Maybe you've watched a video on YouTube. You're trying to grow and develop. You're learning things. Maybe you were in a classroom, right? And then afterwards, you did nothing. You learned a whole bunch of things, and you're like, why did I just learn all of that? Well, you probably didn't reflect on what you could have actually taken from every single thing that you do. It doesn't matter what it is. You can always take something and apply something out of it. And by application, I mean something that you execute on, something that you do, something that is next for you. Like going to that next level is going to take doing something, right? You can't just learn and consume and memorize things like Miriam said, and then expect something to happen without doing anything. No, when you reflect, you're actually able to figure out the 2, 3, 4 things that you can immediately apply in your life. And no, I'm not saying spend 5 hours figuring out what those things are. I'm just saying spend a few minutes and figure out what you can apply, and then remove time out of the equation and go apply it immediately.
I love that. And again, as Alex said here, it's like it gives you don't have to do everything. We're going to talk about how to apply it. We're going to give you 2 top tips in a second here. Like once we get to toward the end of this Clear and Conquer Live. It just, again, when you don't know, guys, when you go to these events and you have so many different things, but you don't know what to apply, the minute you reflect, things get clear, and you don't have to apply all the 2,000 pieces of information you have learned. What can you apply immediately? Oh my gosh, they say that for me to become a millionaire, I have to make $1 million. Okay, good. I don't have $1 million now. Don't worry about the $1 million. What can you do right now? How can you make your first 10,000?
Yep.
Okay. But keep the goal up, keep the $1 million up there. But again, what can you do to get to that $1 million? Right? And many people actually face these challenges because they don't allow themselves to be clear, because they don't give themselves time to reflect. In reflection that you learn, as John Maxwell would say, learning to pause, to stop, to stop for a second, allows the growth to catch up with you. Without that pause, there is no reflection, there is no learning, and again, you're going to be stumbling on the same problems over and over and over again.
Yeah, that's true. And by the way, the definition of insanity. Definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So how long have you been stuck in the same challenges is my question to you. You probably just haven't taken a moment to actually look and confront. Maybe it's scary to you. Maybe like haven't wanted to like look into it, but you haven't figured out what to do next. You haven't figured out what to apply in your life next because you haven't taken a look, right? And a lot of what we do, it's not like Miriam and myself spend every day. I'm not saying spend 5 hours a day reflecting or even like an entire day. Don't do that to yourself. You still have to be consistent in the actions that you take every day, like we
Right.
always teach, right? But when you go take a step back, you're able to like look at everything from a bird's eye view and remove things, and then also put things in place. And in order to put things in place, you guys, you have to remove things first, right? A lot of times we try to like put more things in place, put more procedures, have our employees do more things, but we're not removing some of the things that are not even serving them or the company or your family, whatever it is for you. Like you're not removing things. And by not reflecting, you're not going to figure out what those things are.
I love that. And I love that. So that's the clarity part, which gets us to the fourth point.
Yes.
So the fourth point on why it's also important for you to go ahead and reflect, it allows you to confront the reality of your life. Yes, you reflect, but you also need to confront. You need to confront, guys. So what's the point of you going ahead to all these events and taking a picture of the badge that you saw sat front seat, or I don't know where you sat, right? When you don't reflect, you're not confronting the reality. Sometimes we go to these events and we hear something that you don't want to hear. How many of you guys been to an event and like, oh my gosh, this speaker is talking to me. This person is talking to me. Oh my goodness, stop talking. I remember, I'll tell you the thing that really changed my life, right? So I remember Dana White spoke at the 10X Growth Conference in Las Vegas in 2020. He was one of the most amazing speakers who I ever met. I heard them speak. And he was interviewed by Grant. And in the conference, he said one statement that I didn't want to confront. I was looking away. I even wanted to leave the arena. I wanted to leave the Mandalay Bay Convention Center. In it, he said, give your dreams a chance. Give your dreams a chance. And that was in February 2020, before the outbreak of COVID-19. Okay? And the minute I heard him, it's like, whoo, something happened inside. But then I'm like, no, oh my gosh, look at the reality. I'm working in this job that I like. I'm making 6 figures. I can travel whenever I want. I'm very content. But then I hear him say, give your dreams a chance. And so what I did that night, always after the event, you go to the hotel room and you go ahead and reflect. So I went to the hotel room and I reflected, and he said, give your dream a chance. He allows me to confront the reality of my life. I knew I'm bigger than whatever I was doing before back in 2020. And I knew that the minute I allow myself to be, the minute I allow myself to exist, huge things will happen in my life. And yes, it did. Although there was an outbreak called COVID-19, my business flourished. My inner circle changed. I met my amazing husband. I moved to live to Miami. Amazing things happened in my life because I allowed myself to go ahead and reflect and allowed myself to confront the reality of my life. So you go to these events, you watch a YouTube video, and I'm like, wow, it's inspiring. Oh my God, I love Oprah, I love Cardone, I love Steve Harvey. And then you're not confronting the reality of the situation. I always say, find your purpose. What's your purpose? Are you depressed? You need to find your purpose. You listen to it, but you're not taking it in. You're not reflecting. But if you are actually watching this session and you're actually taking notes, you're going to say, what should I do about this? What should I do right now to confront my life and do something about it? I'm losing so many days in my life because I cannot speak. I'm losing job interviews because I don't know how to speak with confidence. I am losing so many different opportunities because I don't know how to go ahead and present myself. I don't know how to speak to my line manager. I don't know how to speak to a group of employees. I don't know. I want to speak in front of thousands of people, but I don't know what to do. And then you hear me talk about do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, talk about attention, intention, go ahead and know the audience, and I give you the roadmap. But then some people listen, but they don't go ahead and do something with it. But have you reflected? You would actually say, you know what can I do? I'm not very good at speaking, and I need to get better at it. So when you actually confront the reality of your situation, you confront your life, you get to do something about it. It is not fluffy, guys. Life is not fluffy. If someone is living a fluffy life, you're not serious. You're living, oh my gosh, I'm just happy. I'm only looking for my happiness. I'm only looking for my I don't know what. I'm only looking for whatever. You're not serious about. You're like just being a fluff. Because life is beautiful, and it's simple, but we are the one who are making it complicated. But the ones who actually want it are the ones who actually go ahead and confront their situations, and they do something with their life as a result of that.
Wow, that is absolute fire. Okay, and what Miriam said is what she's telling you, and you guys should confront, is a lot of you gave up on your dreams a long time ago, right? A lot of you gave up on them. What? And you think it's your fault? Partially, yes, because you're the one that did it. But society tells you that your dreams are impossible. Everybody around you is telling you, why are you dreaming so big? Everybody around you is telling you that's stupid, right? Those aren't the kind of people to be around you, just so you know. Those are people that are telling you those things because they gave up on their dreams.
Yeah.
Right? So what Miriam's saying is, if once she actually confronted the reality that give my dream a chance, right? She was brought all the way back to her childhood, most likely, where she was dreaming at one point, right? Because all of you as children had dreams, but they were crushed eventually, right? And they were crushed by other people's opinions, most likely, right? People told you were impossible. Steve Harvey, everybody knows Steve Harvey. He's a TV show host. He has multiple businesses. He's a multi-millionaire. I think he's worth like $500 million, right? He was homeless for 3 years. And fast forward to earlier in his life, his teacher told him he's never going to be a TV producer. He should just go get a regular job like every other person, right? Because she was actually telling him, because of his skin color, that it's impossible for people like us, because I think she was the same skin color, to do stuff like that, right? Which is just complete, garbage, right? You see people of all skin colors successful. Women, men, black, white, doesn't matter. There's people that are successful in every area of life. So once you start confronting the reality that it's possible for any of you, like you can go find a story exactly like yours that you're going through right now, that someone else went through that overcame it. I know you can find it. You're just not looking. You're looking for the excuses instead. You're looking for all the reasons why it won't work, because you would rather be comfortable than actually go after your potential.
Oof.
But
Out.
the sad part is comfort is the killer of the dreams, and comfort are the people in comfort are the people that get slammed the most and don't have control over their lives. It's a funny thing. Like, people in comfort do not actually have control over their lives. Right?
Wow.
Those are the exact people that are going to get hit the worst from a thing like a recession and gas prices. They're the ones that complain about it too. They're in comfort, but I guess they're complaining about the gas prices, so it doesn't seem like they're very comfortable anymore, right? So when I started confronting things in my life, I was able to find the Okay. Sorry about that, folks. We had a power surge from the hurricane that's coming. So
everything. They started doing some weird. Oh my gosh! Can they hear us? Are we live?
yeah. Yes, we are, baby.
Okay. Okay, good.
Anyways.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
So apparently we have a power surge here. It's fine. We're good. We're here. Anyways, it's get a little bit darker because the light, the playing ground support. Anyways, we're back in here. In reflection that we learned. So this is what. Go ahead. So we were talking about the last point, which is allow yourself to confront the reality of your life, and once you do, you actually go ahead and do something that is relation to what you want to go ahead next with your life as well.
Yeah. So my question to you guys, fast forward to the other part if you missed it, but here's the thing: are you confronting in your life? Are you actually looking it in the eyes? Are you looking at the bad things, the good things that are happening? We talked about removing things from your life.
1 second.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you don't confront, you aren't going to be able to see everything. Okay. So make sure that you're confronting in your life, and make sure that you find things to remove in your life. And by the way, there's going to be distractions like this all the time in your life.
Right.
Okay. All of the time. I promise you, there's going to be more distractions than you can even imagine. There's going to be 10 times more distractions than you think. But the amazing part is if you just stick with it and you don't quit, you don't pull back, like you keep the accelerator pushed through to the distractions, I promise you on the other side of it is going to be the most blissful life, the best life you ever imagined, and the 10x lifestyle that we always talk about, right? I promise you, if you just stick with it, you do not quit, there is going to be another side to this, right? Because maybe you have so many distractions going on at once. I know that's happened to us in our lives more times than I can count. A big distraction for me was alcohol, which led me to trying to commit suicide. That's a distraction, not only for myself, but everybody.
Right.
Right? So there's going to be distractions. The devil is going to try to get in your way to pull you off track because he doesn't want you to succeed.
Right.
Right? He doesn't want you to get to that next level. He doesn't want you to do the next thing. He doesn't. Right? So he's going to do everything in his power. And the last thing I'll add here before I hand it off to Miriam, he's going to do everything in his power to, when you have white space and time, he's going to enter your brain and tell you it's not possible. Tell you that you should quit. You're a loser, Alex. You're ugly, right? All these different things are going to creep up in your mind. The power's going to go out, right? The kids are going to be screaming. Some kid's going to have to go to the hospital. Hopefully that doesn't happen, right? Something's going to happen. I promise you in your lifetime, there's going to be a point where there's so many distractions and it seems so impossible. But what we always teach is that intention beats mechanics, right? So if your intention is still rock solid and a stake in the ground, you're going to find a way. Promise you that. It's a guarantee, right? It's a guarantee that you're going to find a way because you didn't quit. And it's impossible to fail if you don't quit.
I love that. So again, you're going to be distracted. But again, the only reason we can recognize distractions is because we always reflect. And you're like, it's here. Even our friend William, again, shout out to Wi-Fi. He's always empowering our program, Clear and Conquer, every single Tuesday. And again, he's the one who told us next time if there is any problem with the technicalities, you can use the phone and stuff. So he's always looking after us. He's always helping us. So we love you, William. And we himself and I, we're like our group, like a quantum family, as he calls us. We are always, we know we can recognize a distraction when we see it. But again, we keep on rolling, as he mentioned to us. So how can you use it now? So now that you understand why is it important for you to reflect, you reflect because you want to grow to catch up with you, because you want to remove confusion, because you want to be clear, and also you want to be confronting the situation that you are in. So what can you do about them? There are 2 tips we would like to share with you guys, so it can actually help you get reflection to your advantage.
It's just a few things we use in our life.
Exactly. So this is something we definitely use and something that we figured like as will be definitely benefiting from. So number 1 is I attend every training, seminar, event, even Clear and Conquer Live. You go to any session, take the time to go ahead and sit and reflect. Because if you don't put a time aside, after it, you will forget about it.
Mm-hmm.
How many of us, we go to 3-4 days conferences, and day one you go, oh my god, you love it, the course, and 6 you go drink friends until like 11 at night, you go to sleep, you go on day 2, the speakers will normally, what was your, you have no idea what was your main takeaway because you didn't reflect, right? You do the same, like, you know what, no, tonight I'm gonna, you go to your hotel room second night, like, oh no, are we gonna go out for day 2? The speaker asks you on day, you days, you remember because you didn't reflect. So about okay, I'm gonna keep rolling anyways. So what happens is, in reflection, if you actually take the time to reflect, you know how to build that information. The 10x business bootcamp, the one we went to last time, although I have been to the bootcamp so many different times, there was one statement he said, never underestimate the value of one person. Someone who's watching you on Instagram live, someone who's watching us here, one person, 1,000, it doesn't matter. Never underestimate the power of one person. So that was a minute that, oh my gosh, we started reflecting, and every time
last year, and we're going to be doing another one. Every single time we do an event, free, paid, it doesn't matter. We'll actually reflect on it. We'll see what success, learn something every single time. So that's another to add there too. But and actually that time afterwards, you might never do it. Right. And I don't know about you, but for a very long time, whenever I went to seminars, I would be the person, most likely like a lot of people, where they ask for takeaways and I'm like, I don't know what takeaway they've been saying. Look at the last thing they said and maybe I'll say that one, the very last thing, but that's not really right. So you have to reflect on what your take is and then figure out what you can apply to life, like we talked earlier, right? And if we can, if we don't have a meeting right afterwards, we will do it immediately, right? We'll not go to the, party or whatever reception. We'll actually go to that afterwards because reflection is more important. We spent that day, learning at a boot camp, for instance, or maybe you spent 5 hours learning, or maybe you found your purpose with Miriam for 2 days. You spent 2 days with her. You have to reflect on that and see what you're going to do next. And Miriam helps you reflect, of course, but like you really have to look into
yes.
You have to see what is going to come next.
Right.
Stuck on, you went to the event and you don't really feel like you accomplished anything. The problem is you didn't reflect. You didn't have time to do it.
100%. I love that. So no, I have nothing else. I mean, maybe you can move to point number 2.
Sure. Yes, absolutely. So Miriam and myself, okay, like I said earlier, there's that we think every day. That could be confusing, right? There's a lot of things going on. What we'll do, we'll have 2 to 3 things, not 20 or 30, okay? 2 to, very simply, 2 to 3 things that in our life right now, okay? Let's say you're a startup company. Let's say you're a startup company, you're making 50 a year, right? You're starting up your company and you learn hiring 10 employees, right? That's learn that, and you're going to be able to use that later on. But do you think that that's the thing that you can implement right away? No, not really. What is relevant to your situation right now in this moment? What we're talking about, what's so relevant to you right now? Ask yourself that question. What's relevant that is actually going to change the quality of your life? Like, it has to be simple, because if it's very complicated, you're not going to do it. If something is confusing to you, you will not do it ever. Right? That is, if you're confused about something, you won't know what direction to go in. You will go in. Okay, so you have to get very clear. What are the 2 to 3 things that you can implement in your life? You can use this process and procedure every event that you go to. Even if it's 1 hour, it's 2 to 3 things. It doesn't matter how long, I'm telling you. Like, because otherwise it's going to be very confusing, and you're going to be like, I don't know if it's worth it. I didn't really learn anything. And then you're going to say no to the next because of a past experience that you had where you didn't actually take the time to find something to apply.
Actually, that you said this, like, that's why John Maxwell says that growth is not accidental. It is intentional.
Yes.
You are intentional about your growth. You are intentional about what you need to go and do with your life. Like, by the way, you can go to 100 conferences, and because you're just there for whatever reason. I remember I went to the Growth Con one time, and there is a guy who was sitting in Diamond. I remember saying hi to him, and then he suddenly said, "Oh, I'll stay at the yacht party." I'm like, "You're not staying for the event?" He said, No, I just came here just to take a picture. And I'm just coming for the yacht. I'm not even here to learn. I know everything. Okay, nice to meet you. Have a good life, right? The idea is sometimes we go to all these different things over and over and over and over again, but then we say, why aren't we learning? It's because we are not intentional. We're not focused. We don't have intentionality. We don't go to these events. Just go. Right? There is no intention. Alex and I, every time we decide to go to an event, we ask, is it in alignment with our purpose and how is going to be helping us? We don't say, oh my gosh, we're going to go there because I want to go ahead and take a picture of my badge. I'm sitting VIP. So sit VIP, Mariam Al Ali. And then what? God, congratulations. What did you do? Right? It is when you actually, if you go there and you have an implementation like plan, like, oh my gosh, we're going to go there and we're going to sit and reflect. And this is what Alex and I do all the time. We go to all these different events, we reflect. We go to a call with Cardone, we reflect. We go ahead and attend any of the call with Cardone events, we reflect. We any calls and we reflect. Situation. This is not, guys. You go through a life situation, reflect. You reflect and say, what did I do? What did I do to cause that situation? Stop it again, because when you reflect, you will understand that it has a lot to do with yourself.
100%.
In reflection, you are the one who understands that you are the sole responsible thing for everything that is happening to you. You somehow cause the situation,
Yeah, and we'll talk about a whole entire conversation on responsibility because it isn't. Yeah. So, but the piece I want you guys to know is in reflection, no, it was uncomfortable. In fact, said to run away from comfortable. Running away means being uncomfortable a lot of the times, and being uncomfortable doesn't feel good. Everybody thinks that we have to feel good all of the time. It's all the 100% of the time. Some people even go to events just to feel the adrenaline from it, just to feel the motivation and inspiration. But nothing ever changes in their life. Nothing. Because they never apply, right? They never actually apply because most likely they are uncomfortable. It's like this vicious loop. You stay comfortable your whole life, you don't grow. Like in the discomfort, even in when Mariam and I are confronting each other hard, like we're pointing something that needs to be changed in the person and it's not very comfortable. That has to be done. It has to be done, and it's not comfortable, right? There's plenty of times, by the way, where you're going to be like, I don't like the word comfortable, but you're going to be like happy. You're going to be excited. You're going to have wins. You're going to have, great moments in your life, but don't expect that to be 100% of the time, right? Don't expect perfection. A lot of things started happening in my life when I stopped trying to be perfect, and I just started looking for the simple things to confront. And just be like, it's incremental growth, Alex. What can I improve on today? Yeah. That saying where you become 1% better every single day, and then sooner or later, you're a billionaire like Grant Cardone. There's a video he just did yesterday at his Malibu mansion, and he's talking about a 315-foot yacht. That's his next move. And he's like, right now, I can't afford it, but how can I afford it?
Right.
Like, what do I have to do to get this 315-foot yacht? He was on he saw a 315 yacht, and he's like,
baby.
and Alana and him looked at each other, and they're like, this one's too small. You know, but here's the thing, like that, it's whatever is going to drive you. If not a yacht, what is it for you? Because I have to say, you guys all deserve more than you have right now. But the problem is you didn't do what Miriam did and you confront the fact that you deserve more. Because you're allowing everybody else's opinions and words to literally push you around.
Wow, that's very deep, guys. So this is why we love to go ahead, because a lot of breath takes place when you make sure that you are reflecting on a situation and reflecting on something that you are going through. It's not easy.
No.
I'm telling you, like confronting a situation, reflecting on it, and doing something else, it's not easy. So many times. It is that thing that gets clarified, because once you go ahead and make sure that you know where you're heading with life, it comes from like reason that I know where how far we go and where we're headed. It's because we reflect. Sometimes even when there is something not going right in our life, we say, hold on a second, let's reflect. Why aren't we doing right? Why we that is not right? Are going to cause this? We never say we are the effect. What am I the cause? I want to be the cause. I don't want to be the effect. I want to be the one who's causing things, not always happening to me, and I'm being a victim. Because I'm being a victim, I'm now reflecting. I'm being a little coward, you know. That's what I'm being. So that's guys what happens when you go ahead and reflect. So 4 points shared with you guys on why you need to reflect. It's you allow your growth to catch up with you. It's going to go ahead and help you remove confusion. You get clear, and you also confront the reality that you are in. And we also give you 2 tips and them for you to make sure the experience you go through is actually reflected on. You extract the lesson from it and move on.
Yes. Thank you, everybody, for joining. If you're on our YouTube channel, subscribe, because we come live every single Tuesday, and we have tips 5 times a day now that we put on YouTube, just to have little clips of things so you can learn and grow and develop and become the next best version of yourself. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and hey, we come here live like us every Tuesday. So put this on your calendar. Very important. Put it on your calendar at that noon Eastern PM UAE time. And if you want to accelerate your journey even more, we have a purpose session coming up this weekend, which is all about reflection, by the way. Literally, purpose is who we are. By definition, the reason for which something exists. What's your purpose? Why do you exist?
Right.
Do you exist? So if you're interested, go ahead and go to conf.com/purpose. Even just remove interest and time out of the equation and just go and do it. Okay? Find your purpose with Miriam.
This is the session before the last. There are 2 more sessions for purpose as a group for the rest of this year. I have the next one November, and I have one last one in December. The December one is selling out because people want to find their purpose of 2023. So in any case, guys, I cannot guarantee that there's a group of you who will go to January or February. And by the way, you push it that far, you're not. So I can squeeze in a few more seats now. We have 2 more. Someone actually said they're gonna do it for December, so I have 2 more now. Go ahead and find the reason for your existence. Do not do it yourself. Do not allow you do not stop your soul, your spirit, from getting something that it needs. It's the fuel to your purpose, is the fuel to your soul. So you might as well and join us. You're gonna find it in 2 days. I have people from US, from Dubai, I have people from Kuwait, I have people from Canada joining us this afternoon. So just 2 days. Let's go ahead and help you find your purpose. Let's go.
Let's go. Thank you for joining.
Okay.